But in general, these are the types of examples that were being carried out down in Guantanamo, in which I saw it as a way to break the prisoner through the use of religion. Using religion as a weapon against these prisoners. There were many other ways in which that was being done, to include forcefully shaving the beards of Muslim prisoners down in Guantanamo, as some Muslims consider having a beard an obligation upon Muslims. It went further than that, and I even continued to learn about how this was taking place in ways that I didn't even know about when I was down in Guantanamo. I recently learned about a report in which a prisoner down in Guantanamo, and again, this is something I wasn't aware of when I was down there. I learned that a prisoner in an interrogation room was visited by an interrogator who was dressed up like a priest. And then that priest would go ahead and forcefully baptize that prisoner, thinking that was going to maybe frustrate that prisoner or something. Baptize that Muslim prisoner against his will. This is how religion was being used against prisoners. The desecration of religious symbols, Muslim religious symbols, like the Quran, was not the only religious symbols that were being desecrated down in Guantanamo. There was another religious symbol that, in my view, was being desecrated. But it wasn't a Muslim symbol. It was a Jewish symbol. It was the Star of David, which you find on the Israeli flag. Interrogators would take the Israeli flag and they would wrap it around the prisoner, thinking that too was going to frustrate the prisoner and break him. But that, in my view, would be a desecration not only of the flag, the Israeli flag, but also of that religious symbol, the Star of David. There was also religious discrimination against the Jewish religion that was going on down in Guantanamo. Of course, there was this anti-Muslim hostility that was down there that was felt not only by the prisoners, but also felt by the American Muslims. But there was also some hostility towards the Jewish religion. Because interrogators would tell the prisoners, when they learned that for the first time some of them were going to be visited by attorneys, lawyers, who had now gained the right to see prisoners down in Guantanamo. What did these interrogators tell the prisoners? They told these prisoners, don't trust these attorneys that you're about to see. Why? Because they're Jewish and they're against you. They're not here to help you, so don't treat them. Don't trust them. And indeed, many of these attorneys who are defending prisoners down in Guantanamo are Jewish. And they were outraged when they learned that American personnel, military personnel, would tell prisoners, don't trust these attorneys simply because they're Jewish. There was discrimination, religious discrimination going on down in Guantanamo, not only towards Muslims, but also of those of the Jewish faith. This is how religion was being used as a weapon. And when we think about this idea, it goes against the fundamental character of who we are as a nation. When you think about the First Amendment and the freedom of religion, the advocacy for free exercise of worship, this goes directly counter to our American values. If you go a little bit further, back in history, when those who landed in America on Plymouth Rock, they came for a reason. They were in search of something. And what was that something? It was religious freedom. That was the very first cause established here. And here in Guantanamo, we see American personnel trampling over religious freedom. For me, that was the most disturbing thing, especially because I was serving in the military as a chaplain. And my role was essentially to do just that, advocate for that American value of religious freedom. But what about physical abuse? Was there any physical actual